Right, we are back.
Let's hope everybody's going to come back.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because the interesting part is not done yet. I'm
Because
actually
we
waiting.
should have known, if we had talked about it, no, you could have subscribed just for 1 month. Mm.
Right. Yeah, we have 6 people now. Stephen, you can take it over so that you know because what you're saying, it means we have 40 minutes now.
You're muted.
Stephen, we can't hear you.
Yeah, Field Extension Mission Trust actually has been in the field trying to join the rest of the people to support our community in Sheridan, Yardley, and Birmingham as a whole. And we've discovered, we went into the field to tackle, just to support families with disabled children and also elderly disabled people. And then we went again, and during field operations, we met other set of groups which we are trying to see that we also help them. The objective of a field extension mission, as I earlier introduced before COVID, was to tackle poverty. Was to address this notion of always looking, when we talk poverty or anything negative, it has to go on, on Africans or Asians in particular, or call it Bame. So this negative narrative or stereotype is something which I alongside with most of our members, actually engage in discussions and try to see that we get them addressed. And we've got tremendous support in terms of mobilizing knowledge, raising awareness, to make sure we stand to write our own history. Quite often, right from inception, even right from the mother continent, we are told who we are, and such descriptions of who we are actually derail certain things, and certain things are pushed down our throat. So it's time for us to set the record straight and, of course, address what is on the field now, which is like supporting the Bame community. I'm so glad that there's been a lot of support coming from all the groups, for those who've really introduced themselves and actually managing very powerful groups that actually affect our community. Like, for instance, I think one of our speaker actually was talking about having created a men's group to raise men's problem. In fact, that is the first organization that has actually addressed or brought forth issues that has to do with men. I hope she will push the agenda forward so that we can get men ministry, so that we get a ministry of men's affairs also. That was actually great. In terms of what we do, yeah, it's not extraordinary. We join on the field. We do telephone support for those who are isolated, befriending service. We do counseling. We refer them for counseling service. Those who are actually traumatized, and we have to cope with sometimes bereavement. Try to refer them to bereavement service where they are actually being counseled. So our operation has gone from October, and we're almost rounding up now through our first funding, and we've got tremendous support from our supervisors, our project manager like Mavis and Dream Blazers, and also the funder service, as we contact them periodically to guide us where we've made mistakes and that kind of stuff. So the whole monitoring process throughout our project has been a learning curve, which as we're running up our operations now, it's actually been a very, very vast experience which we've learned on the field. And we hope to actually expand this knowledge which we've gathered on the field to see that we continue to support those in need, and actually expand also our group, because at the moment we're dealing only with families with disabled children, bereaved family from COVID-19, and we hope that in the nearest future we're going to expand our services. Thank you very much, and thank you guys all for sacrificing time to come to join this session with us. I'm so very, very grateful, and back to you, Mavis, so that I can give to another panelist.
Right. Thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen, I love your passion as well. You really are very passionate about community affairs and that sort of thing. You've introduced me to different people, different, you are doing well. I hope you get more funding so that you continue to do the good work that you are doing now. So now we have a 5-minute time for questions and answers for these groups that have spoken. After that, we go on to Charity, who's going to be mainly our therapists, because Charity is a counselor, she's a motivational speaker, she's everything. So these are our therapists. They're gonna talk about coping strategies through this pandemic. Anyone who's got a question, you can raise your hand or you can just say. Stephen?
Yes, I would like our other colleagues, panelists who spoke about heading cases that has to do with men in distress in their relationship. It's good for her to put her number on our chat session so that we help distribute, or maybe flyers, because believe me, the topic which she has raised is what a lot of men are going through, but they shy away from addressing it. So if she can actually put her flyer to us, we'll send it out, and believe me, she will get more client or customer. Thank you. That's all I wanted to highlight there.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And you, Stephen, I think you need to also be in that group so that you actually also support her in whatever she's doing and introduce some of the men to her.
Yeah, I'm available. I'm available.
All right. So we go on to my sister Charity. It's your turn now, my dear.
Okay. Is it possible to share my screen?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. Can you allow me to share screen?
Yeah, if it comes up, I'll allow you. How do I do it?
Go to my and make me a co-host. Go to where my name is. There are 3 little dots. Then you can make me co-host, or go to chat and make me co-host. Go to participants and make me co-host. If you go to participants, then say more, where it says more. Go to my name. My name is Reverend Charity. Then go to more, where it says more.
Yes.
Then add me as co-host.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. As you can see, my name is Reverend Charity, and I am founder of Widows of Virtue Thriving After Trauma. We are not registered yet. We no funding yet, so we are just little babies. So we are looking forward to learn so much from you. But I am thanking Mavis for asking me to talk about the issues of how we can find healing and surviving during this COVID-19 pandemic. So I was looking at all these things, I look at them and I find that no one of us can say I haven't felt abandoned or denial, or I haven't felt unaccepted or depressed during the COVID-19. We have found ourselves suffering from most of the things that are there. Sometimes you feel like you want to give up. Sometimes you feel hopelessness. So these are feelings that we experience. Sometimes when you are bereaved, for women we work with, when they feel bereaved, they feel empty, they feel sad, they are in despair, and community makes them feel like outcasts. So trauma of bereavement in COVID-19. Our aim as women, widows of virtue, is to raise awareness of widowhood and also to empower with skills, because widows get dual roles, being the father, being the mom. So we encourage and support widows through that. We also have networks that we are doing every month to allow widows to come and network with other widows and develop relationships. We also empower financially, because when people lose their husbands or lose their beloved ones, the financial can be very difficult from experience. So we want people to thrive, like what Mavis is doing, to empower other people to start their own projects in order to be financial viable. So we also raise awareness of traumas associated with bereavement, of rejection, of stigmatization. Those are little traumas that come when a person has been bereaved. So you find that if a person hasn't got a good support network or where to go, they actually get deeper into mental health issues. So we also increase confidence so that people can actually are able to voice and stand up for what they believe their rights are. I want to, yeah. So coronavirus has made the things particularly very hard for women or for people, any in general, to grieve. So dealing with traumas, like I mentioned about, vulnerability of widows, rejection, stigmatization, like Mavis has spoken earlier on about how widows or are not grieving the way they grieve normally, especially here in diaspora. When widows are at home, they actually grieve and they have support, they have people around them. Now in COVID, that is not happening. So many people have been separated from loved ones. So we are encouraging people to look at those signs, physical signs, looking at stressful signs. Sometimes you find yourself, you are in temperament, you are angry, you are shouting, you are screaming. Sit down and think and take a reality check. Now, these are some of the things that I'm talking about that affect women. As a result, they end up with all these, and society and churches aren't doing very well in helping, especially widows that we associate with. You find people say, am I not a person that I was yesterday before my husband died? Why are people looking at me as though I am something else that I shouldn't be? So you find that there is lack of support for widows. And you find that dealing also with the relatives of your husband can actually cause so much pain and headaches. And widows become vulnerable. So at the moment with this coronavirus, widows are isolated. So how can we actually help? How can we manage grief and loss during the coronavirus pandemic? When we talk about grief and anything else, it's messy. It's not a straightforward journey. It is messy. As you can see this picture, one day you have anxiety, one day you are happy, one day you are fearful, one day you feel threatened, or you feel guilty, you feel depressed, you feel hostility. So there are lots of things sometimes, and you are gradually probably accepting So this journey is long. And for every widow, this journey is unique. There is no one person who walks this journey the same. So coronavirus has made so many people isolated, whether widows or non-widows. And it has brought so many things that people aren't actually able to cope in this restricted time of COVID. So feelings of isolation and loneliness has intensified the grief and make it even longer than it should be. Some widows have been bereaved and are still staying in the same house where the husband was. There is no relief, there is no comfort from any one person. So the grieving process is shortened rather than being processed in a long time. In a way, you lock down your grief. Instead of processing that grief in a normal way, you lock it down in order to survive, in order to survive with children, to copy with your children, to copy with all those things. So there are a lot of things that we see that COVID has, I don't know how much my time, that COVID has brought to widows. So what we are encouraging people to do, because you find people who are coming more into therapy are coming and say, how can I cope? So we are encouraging people to contact people, to get in connection with people, to come to these groups, to phone people, to email people, to go on Facebook, so that you are not isolated. So we are encouraging people to keep in touch with people as much as possible. We are also encouraging people to be physically active, do exercises, go out on walks, do anything. I like people here in England, they have dogs, so they walk their dogs. We don't do cycling, but let's do housework, do something that makes you stay active. Also, we need people to encourage people when you're in isolation, learn a new skill, go study. In these days, there are so many webinars that you can engage with. Learn some new skills, try and do some new activities so that your mind, when you are alone or when you are not just idle, but you are doing something that enhances the process of grief. It's not that it's going to be easy, and what I'm saying is going to cure grief, because it's like a cave. That cave we see, it goes up, it goes down. Sometimes you are happy, you're thinking, oh, I'm coping well. Tomorrow something else, a trigger comes and you are down. So this process, especially in COVID, is going to take probably even longer than what we thought it would take. And you find that your self-esteem goes down. So that's why we said we want to build people's confidence during this time of coronavirus, to enable them to reach out. So when you learn some new skills, it means your brain is thinking of other things other than the deceased person or the problems that are associated or the traumas that you are getting from all the corners of life, financially, relatives, siblings, and all those things. You start to, and this is a way now of empowering yourself to embrace the new role of widowhood that you are embracing and taking. So we also say, do some activities, go and volunteer, help other people when you are, so that you are not just me. If you internalize lots of things, you are not actually able to grieve. But if you start helping other people, you find your mind, your everything changes. So we are encouraging people to do others. Research says you improve your mental well-being if you start creating ways of thinking positively and giving to the community and giving to others. So all those people that we are helping, we need also to be asking them, what are you doing when you receive help? How are you helping your neighbor? Sometimes we find that people have to learn to meditate, to read the Bible, to pray. It helps a lot. I've forgotten to put music. Sometimes music helps a lot. So we want some people are not Christians. I am a Christian, so I follow that practice. Some people, whatever gives you meaning and purpose, or whatever way of praying that you get, use those methods as much as possible in order for you to actually start to release and to lessen those painful emotions. And also our spirituality helps us to grow and to heal as well. So these are mechanisms that helps us or quicken our grieving process in order for us to heal. Please don't forget that to understand, live the moment, live today. So people who suffer depression are people who are looking backwards and are thinking, why did it happen? Why me? Why this? So those people suffer depression. So people who are suffering anxiety are people that don't know what the future holds. So they are always anxious about the future. So then you suffer. Then panic attacks comes. Then you don't want to. So we are trying to help people in this COVID to say, gradually do one step at a time, one thing a day, keep in contact with people, keep in touch with people, learn new skills, do all sorts of things in order for you to sustain your life where you are. Some people have not been able to say goodbye to their loved ones, and this is very, very difficult. But sometimes you can sit down in your house and thinking, what could I have said if I had gone to my husband's funeral or to my father's funeral or to my sister's funeral? What could I have said? Write a letter. Even if you don't post it, because you don't have anywhere to post it, to release those emotions, put them on paper, talk to somebody. So we are encouraging people to come and talk to us in so many things. Like I said, connect with people, be physically active, acquire new skills, help other people, pay attention to the here and now, and pray and in mediation. Please, to share our stories is very important. I've heard so many people talking about sharing our stories. Sharing our stories is quite powerful. It gives someone hope, like the hope we were talking about men. You see men who are needing that hope, and so many people who are here have now been encouraged. So sharing what we do is for very good. And it gives hope, and hope is helping one person every day. So you are giving someone hope by doing that. We work with people to understand their past, to know who they are, where they've come from, how they've shared emotions in their families of origin. So we want to help people to come and say, I want to talk in Shona here. Kumba kwedu, we never used to kuchema tita, tasinga cheme msodzi. So here we want to understand, why were you not crying? What was happening then? So then you know the way you are behaving or the way you are grieving may always be coming from your family system. To understand and standing in your power. Everyone has power. I always say my power is the Holy Spirit that I stand in. So you know where you draw your strength and your power. Love yourself. Make sure your environment is clean. Make sure you wash yourself, put some makeup, even if you are in your own house and isolated. It makes you cheerful. It makes you look beautiful as well. Take off those unhelpful messages that we give. Established messages that I'm a widow, I'm a victim. We are not victims. We are not victims. We can still thrive after all the traumas that we have get. Strengthen your relationships with people, with friends, with relatives, those relationships. So we help you to communicate. If you are struggling in communication, how can we help you to communicate the way you should communicate? improve your communication skills as well. We teach those. And also asking for help. Asking for help. Please, please, it's important. If you are struggling, you need to ask for help. So we ask people, when we see people are not asking for help, we encourage them to reach out and ask for help. So
1
thank
minute.
you.
Just on time.
So thank you. I will put my phone and my details on the chat if anyone wants to contact and have a chat and talk. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Welcome.
Charity. That was really
Very powerful.
recommendation. And you know, those coping strategies and everything. I'm gonna learn a new skill, like what you said. I'm gonna learn a new skill. I know about volunteering and the full good factor that it brings, and the fact that you are contributing to society makes you feel very positive. So thank you for that. We go on to our last speaker, Sibi.
I feel everything has been covered.
It's all your fault. You said you were not be available earlier. I would have made you start, and then she was gonna be done.
All right. Let me just.
We can
Are you
still get
going
some
to
food
time?
from Mama's table.
Sorry?
Because I am a host, I don't think it will cut. Probably because I've got longer thing.
Oh,
Okay.
that's better then.
I'm not sure it will cut. Let's see where we go. Can you see any restrictions?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm CB, as I said, and I work for NHS Leeds with the Crisis Assessment Center. And also I work in the community with a charity called Empowerment and Coping Skills. So our aim is to offer help in the community with people who are struggling with anxiety and depression because of COVID. And we use CBT therapy for them to gain coping skills in the community. I'm going to talk about what is worry, the triggers, and the bad way of dealing with worry, and the good way of dealing with our worries. So first, what are the triggers of us getting worried? We tend to get these triggers from what we watch on television, the news, what we talk about at work with our families, and at home, whether it could be about COVID, it could be political. Those are some of the triggers of when people start getting worried. And what is worry? Worry is when we start self-talking and discussing with ourselves, like things, what if this happens to me? What if this happens to my child? We keep thinking and self-talking like that, and yet we don't find the answers, but we still continue to self-talk to ourselves. And the more we self-talk, the more worries we get, and worries multiply from 1 to 3 to 100 and on and on and on. So some of the thoughts which normally pop into our heads, especially during this COVID lockdown, we might be working, maybe we are on the front line, we're getting ready for work or for our next shift. We can start thinking, what if I get COVID? I know I'm working in a COVID ward. What if I get COVID? What if I can't work anymore after getting this COVID? I'm the breadwinner. What will happen to my family? What if I get COVID at work and I come home, I infect my family, and I've got family members who are shielding? What if I get infected, like that colleague of mine who got infected and they ended up dying? What if I don't get to the hospital on time and get the treatment? What will happen to me? what if I've got underlying conditions which I am not aware of, and then I get COVID? What will happen? So these are some of the thoughts which will be going through our heads when we're going to work, when we're at work, or even when we're watching the news every day. So the bad way of dealing with these worries is when we brush them off and start telling ourselves, I don't want to think about it, because if I get more anxious like this, I might end up having mental health problems. So we keep pretending everything is normal, get on with life, and block all these. Or is it going down? So this way doesn't work, because our mind was created to detect any threat around us. So when we are worried and when we are going like that, the brain is just doing what it was created to do. So the more we are trying to block it, the more it will bring more worries. So it becomes a vicious circle. How many times have we decided, like women, we decide, I want to go on a diet. The moment you say you're going on a diet, every time you're thinking of food. And
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Don't talk about
when is
that.
my next meal? What am I eating? Is it healthy? How many calories? And that's all we think about. And then we eat more. When we are not thinking about dieting, we find we're losing weight. It's so strange. It's because that's how the brain is created. It's there to detect a threat. So the other way is when, let's say somebody's going for a job interview the night before, they might be worried about that job. What if I don't get that job? What if I get lost when I'm driving to the place? What if they ask me about the company and I can't explain myself? So you'll be worried the night before. You're trying to find all the facts. Is my CV okay? What am I wearing? How am I going to explain myself? On the day of the, so all night, these anxieties are piling and piling. The following day, when we go to the interview, we walk into that room, our anxieties are reaching the ceiling by now. We do the interview, we come out. As we leave that room, our anxieties start going down, because we've dealt with the situation, because that's how the brain is created. The brain is there to detect a problem and try to fix it. So when we finish that interview, all the anxieties come down. It doesn't matter. Sometimes after the interview, you might be told, oh, we need to interview some other people.
Because I want to go and have a bath. Okay, the moment.
Margaret,
6 minutes.
What do you want me to do?
No,
Should we
talk.
go?
I was just saying, can you make me a host so that we see whether it comes to my account?
But are you not the host? Actually, I made you a host already, right? Or didn't I?
Did you make me co-host or host?
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can make it.
Because we have got only 5 minutes.
You are the host. I make you host.
Saka, it won't work. CB,
Oh.
talk very fast here.
Okay.
It won't work. Yeah.
Okay.
you can come back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we will come back.
Should we come out and come back then?
No, we still got 5 minutes, so we are okay.
All right. Okay.
5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. So when we finish the interview, when we go home, our anxiety. Oh, we need to mute the other person.
Margaret.
Oh, it's been muted now. Okay. So when we go home, our anxiety levels will be down again and we can function. And that's what is supposed to happen. But in real life, things don't work like that. We find that a certain event might happen. We lose maybe a loved one during COVID at home. Our anxiety levels just pick up. Let's say we function at 30% and this event happens. We can hit 60% just like that. When we hit 60%, the anxiety levels are not like a temperature where you see where they are. We might not even notice that we've gone to 60%. And before we know it, something else happens, Maybe we having pressure at work, our health, children, relationship, and things keep piling up to the point it gets to 90%. And before we know it, we start behaving different ways. Maybe we start talking, lashing out to our family, saying things we don't mean, or we are struggling to sleep, or we're eating a lot, or we are eating less. All these things are symptoms of anxiety levels escalating. When we say a major event, it can be anything. It can be, I talked about death. It could be even changing houses, changing jobs. It could be even having a baby or preparing for a wedding. Things which don't happen every day are called major event because we don't do these things every day. So it's bound to trigger our brain that there is something, there's a threat. So there's a therapy called CBT. CBT stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive means thoughts. This therapy focuses on negative thoughts. And it mentions that when a negative thought enters our head, our mood goes down. When our mood goes down, our behavior changes. So it keeps going on and feeding one thought, next thought. Before we know it, we're at 100, 200 million, trillion. So this therapy, what it does is help us to become our own therapists at home so that we will be able to identify that negative thought. When you identify that negative thought, we work with it. Instead of blocking it or brushing it off, we work with that thought to try to reduce our anxiety levels. So how much more do I have? I've got 2 minutes. I'll come out then and then we can go on the...
Let's come out and come back because
Yes.
we want you to actually have your time. Let's finish stay at 5:30 so that you have enough time to cover what you are doing.
Okay.
Guys, we are going out. We'll come